Hey guys, I hate to bring it up, but don't give up on your phrasal verbs. It will only take up a little bit of your time. It won't take up any space. And if you take up studying phrasal verbs for a little bit of time every couple of days, it will open many doors. So stick around and let's look at some phrasal verbs. Hello and welcome to No Pressure English with Kevin. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and let's check out some phrases together. Number 1, to take up. At the beginning of this year, I took up surfing. I can barely swim, but for some reason, I took up surfing. I bought a surfboard, I bought the wetsuit. Fantastic, okay? I thought this is going to be cool. In reality, the beach is quite far from my house, so it takes up a lot of time for me to prepare to go to the beach, to surf, and to come back. It takes up a lot of time. The surfboard takes up a lot of space in my house, and it takes up a lot of space in my car. In fact, no passengers can be with me in the car when the surfboard is there. So that's a bit of a negative. It's a bit of a disadvantage or a con to this new activity. Here we used to take up as our phrasal verb. To take up time or to take up space. This means to occupy or to consume our time and our space, to use. So for example, the surfboard takes up space in the car. It consumes or it occupies a lot of space. The trip from my house to the beach, the surfing adventure and the return, that takes up time. It uses a lot of my time. Okay, it's great at the weekend, but during the week, I just don't have that time, unfortunately. To take up a hobby. So we often see this with take up skiing, take up swimming, take up hiking, the ing form. So take up an activity. To take up smoking, no, that's a bad idea. But, to take up or to start doing something that you didn't do before. I would love to take up skiing. Everybody I know who goes skiing falls in love with it and just goes for the rest of their lives. Once you start, you can't stop. So I would love to take up skiing. Do you remember the old computers? They used to take up a load of space, like a lot of space. You would have, the whole corner of a room was occupied by the computer and the keyboard and the monitor. And now we walk around with tiny phones. Our second phrasal verb is to give up. Okay, so to give up means to quit, to renounce is a very fancy verb that we don't use very commonly in English. It's used in Romance languages, well, in Italian at least. But in English, we say to give up or to quit, to stop doing something. I started studying Spanish last year, and then I gave it up. I really regret it. It's a beautiful language. It's amazing. When we are young, I think we play so many different sports, and then one by one, we give up. Our last phrasal verb is to bring up. Again, this changes depending on context. So one example of the difference, to bring someone up. This means to raise someone, to raise a child, for example, to bring up a child. To bring something up or to bring up something means to introduce a topic, for example, during a meeting. So he brought up the project during the meeting. He introduced the topic of this project at the meeting. Samantha has a performance appraisal at the end of the month. She wants to bring up all the good work that she's done this year in order to get a salary increase, a pay rise. When you give feedback to someone, they say you should bring up two positives or two positive things about their performance and then one negative. If you go to the pub in Ireland, it's best not to bring up religion or politics. Just avoid them. Just avoid those topics, okay? For a good night out. Okay, guys, those were 3 phrasal verbs that I wanted to look at: to take up, to give up, and to bring up. I hope there is a little more clarity around when we use them and in what way we use them. Take care of yourselves and see you again soon. Ciao.